dark truth of gladiators. A man is on his knees. The sand beneath him is wet. His sword is gone. 50,000 people are screaming above him, and every single one of them is deciding whether he lives or dies. This is not a movie. This is Tuesday afternoon in Rome. We think we know gladiators, Russell Crowe, sword fights, honor, the crowd going wild for a hero. But almost everything you've been shown is wrong. The real story is about a financial system built on human bodies, about men who were fed a specific diet to make their wounds less fatal, about fighters who were offered freedom and said no, and about a machine so perfectly designed to extract value from human suffering that we never actually dismantled it. We just gave it a different name. Part 1, Inside the Arena, right now. Let's stay with him for a moment, the man on his knees. He got here through a tunnel beneath the stadium, underground, no daylight, the crowd noise above him building for 20 minutes before he ever saw the sand. When he walked out, 50,000 people who don't know his name decided in 3 seconds whether they liked his face. The fight itself was refereed. Judges stood in the sand with him. They could stop it, restart it, separate the men. Because this was never about death. It was about drama. 2 dead gladiators means 2 financial losses. The system was engineered to produce maximum tension before minimum killing. But now, he's down. He raises his left hand, index finger up. The crowd decides. If they want him dead, he is expected to kneel forward, offer his neck, not flinch. The Romans called this virtues, courage, not the winning, the willingness to face the end without breaking. Some men do. Some men scream and beg and try to crawl away. Those men die to boos from 50,000 people. Now let's talk about how he got here. Part 2, the thing nobody tells you first. Roman writers had a nickname for gladiators, hordeari, barley men. Not because Rome was cheap, because the men who owned them had done the math. Barley, beans, almost no meat, a diet that builds a specific layer of fat just beneath the skin, subcutaneous fat, and in a fight where shallow sword cuts are your most common injury, that layer is the difference between a manageable wound and a severed artery. Think about that man on his knees. Every meal he ate for the last 2 years was calculated to keep him alive long enough to be useful, not for his sake, for the investment. Bone analysis from a gladiatorial burial site in Ephesus confirmed it. Calcium levels far higher than ordinary Romans. Evidence of ash drinks, a crude supplement to harden their bones. Their owners weren't keeping them healthy because they cared. They were maintaining assets. Some men were sent there to die, untrained, unarmed, thrown in as public execution, dressed as sport. Others trained for years, ate carefully, were kept alive at enormous expense. The difference had nothing to do with mercy. It had everything to do with their value. Part 3, how a funeral became an empire. 264 BC, Rome. A nobleman is dead. His sons stand at his grave, watching 2 slaves try to kill each other. This is where it starts. Not entertainment. A funeral rite, munera, duty to the dead. The Romans believed a great man's spirit demanded blood sacrifice to move on. Sacred. contained, private. Then politicians get involved. Julius Caesar funds games with 320 pairs of gladiators, silver armor, not grief, campaign strategy. A message to every Roman watching: I am powerful enough to give you this. The sacred becomes spectacle. The spectacle becomes politics. The politics becomes an industry. Running for 500 years on human beings. Part 4. Who these men actually were. Most gladiators don't choose this. Slaves, bought by a man called a lanista, fight promoter crossed with slave owner. He feeds them, trains them, rents them out, doesn't want them dead. Dead is a financial loss. Prisoners of war, shipped directly from conquered territories into the schools. After the Jewish wars, Emperor Titus turns captives into content, conquest as entertainment. Condemned criminals, some trained, some not. Some walked into that arena with no weapon and no chance. But some, and this is where it gets complicated, some people sign up. Free men, Roman citizens, they surrender their legal rights, accept the stigma, risk the death for food, shelter, prize money, and something Rome doesn't offer most poor men: a stage. Because the famous ones are famous. Graffiti in Pompeii, Celadus the Thracian makes the girls sigh. Property on paper, celebrity in the streets. Rome held both of those things at once without blinking. Part 5. Flamma, the man who said no to freedom. His name is Flamma, Syrian, 2nd century AD. 34 fights, 21 wins, 9 draws, 4 losses. 4 times Rome offers him the rudies, the wooden sword, freedom. 4 times Flamma says no. To understand why, stand where he's standing. No family, no home, no world outside these walls. The gladiatorial school is the only place Flamma has ever mattered. Freedom isn't a door opening, it's everything he is, disappearing. So he goes back, every time, back into the sand, back into the raw. He dies in the arena eventually. We don't know when, we don't know how. But he chose it. 4 times handed the exit. 4 times walked back toward the noise. That is either the saddest thing in this story, or the most human. Maybe both. Here is what nobody wants to say out loud. We haven't moved past this. We have stadiums where athletes destroy their bodies for our Sunday afternoons, receiving medical care calibrated to return them to the field, not to protect them from what the field is doing to them. We have industries that find 20-year-olds from desperate circumstances, extract a decade of physical peak, and make sure the money flows to the people who never step onto the field at all. We have crowds, right now, this weekend, cheering and booing and deciding who gets another chance. The coercion is different. The suffering is different. That distinction matters. But the architecture is identical. Spectacle built on physical risk, funded by concentrated wealth, consumed by audiences who prefer not to examine the machinery underneath. Rome built the Colosseum and called it entertainment. It's still standing, full of tourists, every day taking photos where the sand used to be, where the blood used to be. But Flamma is in there somewhere, standing at the gate, wooden sword in his hand, walking back in anyway. Ask yourself why that feels so familiar. If this hit different than what you expected, that's the point. There's a lot more where this came from. Subscribe. See you in the next one.